Come in 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon here as we get going into the final couple hours of what is going to be a pretty negative week for stocks right across the board. As we said, coming into today, still about 2.5% for the S&P to the downside, 3.5% at the start of today for the NASDAQ on the week. And I say this because right now the S&P 500 basically flat on the day today, and the NASDAQ still holding on to a slight gain, 0.37 in positive territory right now, but that's off of a 1+% high that we had to kick things off this morning. So we've given it all back essentially, and then some. Still 2 hours to go. Here's Tesla, meanwhile, 3% to the downside, just taking out the lows in front of me right now on decent volume as well. So accelerating into new lows on the day. One of the worst off right now as far as tech names are concerned. This is a little bit delayed, obviously, but 2.2 on this board for Tesla. Very, very red. You can see a lot more red coming back into this board since the last time we saw. That is for sure. Microsoft, 0.5% in negative territory. Still decent amount of positivity coming out of the chip space so far this afternoon. NVIDIA, AVGO, AMD, Intel as well, notably strong on the day. But Broadcom here among the leaders, 1.9%. Qualcomm as well. 0.8%, NVIDIA 1.5%, Apple there as well, holding on to a decent gain. I was reading a little bit during lunchtime there about the Google event that's coming up on October 4th. They were talking a little bit more about the tablet they're going to launch. We'll get the new Pixel phones, obviously. There's a few new colors coming through, Pixel 8. Crazy that they're already on Pixel 8. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but it's been 8 years. Jumping back into this real quick, banks notably weak. If you're watching Lunch Money at 12 o'clock, we were discussing JP Morgan, but the entire group still downside in a big way, including Wells Fargo there, Morgan Stanley as well, 2% plus for both of those. There was some lingering strength in some of the retail names. Walmart back to basically flat. Home Depot now red. Costco 0.8 only to the upside. They'll report, FYI, coming up next week. We'll get earnings from COST. Worth noting, there's both Mary Daly, Fed's Mary Daly, and Kashkari making some comments right now, trying to talk the market back to negative territory. Here's some highlights that came through just before we came on. Fed's Daily saying they're seeing firms expecting wage growth to moderate. We'll be watching if energy prices increases push up short-term inflation expectations. Right now, Fed's Daily has no indication that inflation expectations are rising. She also said that higher is needed for interest rates. Kashkari, on the other hand, saying overall consumer spending continues to exceed our expectations. So still a lot of hawkish talk coming through from Fed representatives when it comes to what is going to happen with interest rates going forward. Let's rewind the clock here, go back to the beginning of the day. If you were with us in the pre-market this morning, we were talking about these, Chinese ADR specifically, being much, much stronger than the entire market, and they continue to be at this point this afternoon. As I mentioned, both the S&P and the NASDAQ basically back to flat on the day. Here's BABA, 4.7% to the upside. There was more details on their logistics arm. Spinoff that they're going to do an IPO in Hong Kong to the tune of about $1 billion, remember, so that's coming up shortly. Alibaba is still the best off in the group. EVs specifically were strong to start things off, both XPeng and NIO still in positive territory. What a week it's been for NIO. There was data and news on NIO Homes. They're going to start building homes, and then yesterday we got the information on the NIO phone, $900 USD NIO phone, back to the upside today as well, along with Alibaba. Not much to do currently, guys, for Chinese ADRs, but a decent look here in a basically flat market.
Can we all just give a slow clap for Obi right now? Like,
what's going on?
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the closing show, guys. What's going on? What's up?
What's
happening?
Look, I got a 90-minute break today, and
I got a break.
What break? You've been on the entire. You get 30 minutes, man. I don't know if he's eaten. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you haven't even gone to the bathroom today. Like it's impressive. You're still talking. You're still coherent. I don't know what's going on. I'm drinking an afternoon coffee. I got trailed out of my Apple short, and that was like the worst trail out of all time. Like, how do I manage to make top wick on a trail out when the market's tanking? Anyways, we'll get to that in a second. We're supposed to be talking about Chinese strength. Yeah, that's the only thing that's up today. Right? Like, I don't know. You guys tell me, what else is up today other than the Chinese ADRs? Well, I wanted to short on Alibaba today. I thought maybe you'd fill in the gap to the downside. I thought it was well worth the risk. And the move I'm looking to capture was, get underneath the low of the day, if you wick that top, and I'm talking breakdown at least into here, as we were mentioning in the morning show, 85.5 to 86. So I felt there was a couple of dollars worth it. I've seen Baba do it in the past. I was willing to risk $0.50 to do it. Took one shot. The second shot I probably only risked about 20 cents on, but at that point it was looking strong. So it's afternoon. I don't think we're going to see a heck of a lot in terms of action in these. For what it's worth, NEO's still holding the same low. I only bring this up because after the offering, it's made a bit of a double bottom here. You know what, that wick is annoying, so let's go to the 3-minute and zoom that out. Yeah, so it's made a bit of a double bottom. First, the 840 level is held. We closed right underneath 850. Now you got a double bottom here at like 850 as well. So NEO, at least, despite being trash the last couple of days, is holding a good support level after the Huadong to the downside. So Baba's strength, Pinduoduo's having a good day as well. Everything else is pretty much in the tank. And maybe NEO has found a temporary bottom when it comes to the Chinese ADRs. Now, I don't see a trade there. There usually isn't much of one. The cheeky thing to say would be the low of the day on NEO is 2 cents under here, and it's barcoding off the bottom. Like, there are crazier things than longs like that, but I feel as if there's going to be enough moving in the market that you don't necessarily have to try to go to something like that to try and get a gain. And it's not that that's nonsensical. Like, you get on the bid at 50 and out at 47, and if it gets to VWAP, you're laughing, and you have 2 hours for it to work. Sometimes that's not a bad idea. There's no size on the bid, and nothing really makes me love that trade. So it's probably a pass on all the Chinese ADRs, at least until next week, and it's a different story. But I do like what I saw out of Baba being able to hold up. I mean, yeah. I looked for the short today and lost on it, but hey, I'm long in my personal account and out of the water, under the water on that, so I'd like to see it hold some strength.
Yeah, I just want to note that that the NQ is kind of pulling back right back down into that 14.9. But yeah, so we did get back all the way down to that opening kind of range low almost, just a few points away from that. But yeah, back to Baba, we talked about how some of these ADRs were holding the VWAP out the open, and take a look at what has come into play throughout the day here. It is about 2 p.m. and we talked about this early on near the open, or actually right before the open, right? And holding VWAP very, very well. Sure, that initial morning chop is pretty crazy, but once you kind of settle in and do your thing, you kind of come into VWAP and hold above. Same thing I'm seeing here with PDD, right? PDD. And we already know that NEO XPEV are also doing very similar things, holding down the VWAP. We talked about that earlier as well. What's XPEV right here? Okay, right, yeah. So XPEV as well. So very similar. So a lot of these ADRs kind of following some of these strict indicators for today, or strictly following some of these indicators today.
Just reading a note here, guys, as far as Mary Daly still making some comments. Again, day lows incoming here for both the S&P and the Qs. We're trying to get back to flat, essentially, for the NASDAQ. S&P just about to dip into negative territory. It's unlikely we'll be at 2% inflation in 2024. That was the latest comment from Fed's Mary Daly. No kidding, I guess, is the best response to that. Long way to go, unfortunately, to get all the way back to 2% inflation. Apple, let's talk about Apple. Not a bad start to the day, really, overall for Apple shares. We did see a little bit of a reversal around lunchtime, back downside right now through to 175. But there was that prominent Chinese analyst that covers Apple that came out just after the open. It was right about here. This moved to day highs, in fact, I think it was. Suggesting that not only this quarter iPhone sales specifically are going to top expectations, but the new iPhone 15 sales in general are going to top expectations. So nice look for Apple, guys, still holding on to a 0.8% gain. As I said, day lows incoming here for the NASDAQ now, just 0.25% to the upside.
I don't know if Apple's going to hold this bottom. I'm a little skeptical. The NASDAQ's at the bottom and Apple's making a higher low, so you're right. It's holding on to its gains. I've only been short this. Short, loss, and then the next short was kind of like the head and shoulders, I guess, like triple top. It breaks out, fails 177. The first consolidation is the previous resistance level. At this moment, like this is 106. So if you look at, I'm just going to pull the NASDAQ up here to get an idea. Like this is the NASDAQ, and this is a 15-minute. This is at noon. Like the NASDAQ is already pulling back in here and dying. And it's about here when you've already pulled, failed 15,000, broken through the 50 period, headed toward the lows. At that point, like you can still short Apple at the top. Anyways, it's ridiculous. So you'd already made the dip beneath 15,000 and we're carrying through. And this was still hanging at VWAP. So the first move down that takes 15,000, you're getting a lower high. It gets to VWAP, and the futures are at the lows. We finally play some catch up. So the futures were breaking the bottoms. That's my excuse for putting a trailing stop in here. Like if you fail the bottom, then I should just get out. I get trailed out, and you're basically in the same level. I'm not wondering if I shouldn't just be back in the trade in this range, but it's probably going to break the range down. There's so much to look at here, but I can't really ignore what else is going on. Meta, I was in the Meta short multiple times, top, VWAP, miss reload, got in it at 300. I'm like, yeah, it's not really doing anything. It's still not doing anything, but this could give up 300 in a big way. So much happening in big cap tech. I know I'm jumping around, but if the NASDAQ goes red, you're talking about a consolidation break underneath 300 on Meta right now when it's up 1% and when it's failed the 50-period moving average. And you know, there's still some room to the downside here. Like 300 was yesterday's top. If we don't hold on to this, I mean, look, NVIDIA just broke. Tesla just made a new fresh low at 247. Like, let's wet the proverbial beak here. What am I doing? Okay, I want to give me some 70s. I don't want to chase to 50. Don't make me chase. I don't want to chase. I hate chasing. I'm just going to leave my order in there. Like, there's a lot breaking down right now. I think it's worth the shot off the 300 area on Meta. Apple, there's still some room for it to go, but I don't know. It probably needs to clear out 175. Otherwise, I want to short off VWAP here. It's holding some higher lows, but the market, as it's breaking down, if we go red and hold red, you want Apple short into the low of the day. I think you want Meta under 300. Tesla's just dying right now.
Yeah, definitely very heavy there. We've spoken about Apple multiple times today. You guys saw the short that we had off the 177, kind of change of pace there. That kind of coincided with a lower high on the ES and the NQ. Again, that was a decent idea for the short. And yeah, it's coming into fruition here. We were talking about that 175 test potentially coming in. I see that Amazon as well just broke that to 129. As well. So yeah, a lot of things coming in. Apple potentially coming into its previous lows here, but it's interesting that we kind of, even though the NQ comes all the way back down past its opening range low, but Apple has not made it all the way back down to 174. On that move there, holding above that 175. So if we technically make a higher low here while the market does a little bit of a bounce, then I think we might be poised to kind of reverse back into that 176, that 176 being kind of a key area from before as well.
All right, let's keep going here. Tesla, guys, you were just mentioning back to the downside. I was just watching some volume alerts going off here right across the board as we made new lows there. I saw NVIDIA go by, AMD go by, Tesla was one of those. This is the SPY, obviously just the S&P, but even the SPY popped up, which is very rare, kind of an indication. It's very rare in the sense of, from a volume alert standpoint, it's very rare to see that on one of those, but the SPY making a new day low there, maybe stopping a few out. Nikkei reporting Toyota is going to triple their EV output in a bid to, this is specifically over in the Chinese market, in a bid to chase down BYD and Tesla in that market. They were obviously late, or not late, but the last even to the party when it comes to EVs. Now that they have kick things off with some production on the EV side of things. Still focusing on the hybrid side of things. Side note, the new Prius is awesome. Ramin thinks that's funny, but it's really, really, really cool car. Tesla, guys, one of the weakest all day long continues to be right now.
I mean, it is the weak. I don't know. This is the weakest right now, Tesla. It's dying. I just recently bought some Tesla at 222. Didn't take any profit because it's for the long term, but we might see that again, and we might see it right quick. Not necessarily today, but we're now within 10% of the 20s. You can see you've rolled over the 50 period on the daily chart here. It's been a nasty one. This is not the name that I had for the short. I was looking for the bounce off yesterday's low, so there was the trade. Sometimes you should flip it short. I've had a bunch of shorts, it's just Tesla wasn't one of them. It is what it is, man. Like I saw Meta, I know I liked ARM on the pop, and just never really got into Tesla. Now if you're chasing this, I think you're looking for the next consolidation or pop. There hasn't been much. Like at 250, it had a little something. 45 is going to be a level because it's Friday. But yeah, if it gets to 45, you're at 45.9. So I don't know that you short Tesla at 245.80 or 90. I think if it's going to bounce off 45 or consolidate there, you find your way in. Or if it pops, you try to short a pop. Now, you've gone so far to the downside, a 4% move, that if we're going to continue further than this, there's going to be some pops to the upside. The profit taking is going to happen, all that good stuff. So Tesla, it's been absolutely wild. It's a train wreck. On sympathy, there are some sympathy things to look at here. I mean, generally speaking, you're going to see me usually talk about Rivian. Rivian's at 21 even. There's not much size on the bid. I can tell you that right now. Like, it's not as if there's a big level here, but it's only down 2%. When Tesla's having a rough day, its daily chart trend looks worse, if more the same. I think it looks actually a little bit worse. And there's a lot of room for this to pull back. And I think we're getting to the 200 period on this market pullback for names like Rivian. For now, I'm expecting maybe a little bounce off 21. If this can bounce off to 21 level, I think I want to be shorting back into this previous high. A break of the low of the day at the even doesn't. I'm never in love with taking like a breakdown on a move like this. I'm not a huge fan of it. But yeah, if we get a pop to short, I want to short the pop. If this ends up being a false bottom or it ends up being a bottom and we get back to VWAP on the futures, fair enough. I'd rather be joining the trend on Friday.
Yeah, for sure. I think I talked about this with you this morning, where I kind of got clocked on fighting the trend end of day on the TQs when I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, both days in a row we kind of sell off pretty hard at the end of the day, and I'm like, oh, how much lower can we go? Can this go any lower? And I'm even looking at the weekly chart on Amazon. I'm like, holy, like what is this? What does this candle even mean? But yeah, definitely a strong sell coming in here. Tesla definitely the weaker out of a lot of these names here. I got a few of them up on the board. Everything else has held within range, but Tesla catching a bit of a sell here. We talked about some reasons why, some bigger picture reasons why we may be catching a sell in these areas. And sure, you can have some catalyst-driven volume as well. Being, I think it was we're having. Some movement over into India in terms of production there, and the consumer base probably increasing as well. So definitely doing a little bit of volume here. Not significant RVol. It's still in and around 1 RVol there. So it's doing its usual volume. But a name like Tesla is probably in play every day with the amount of points it kind of has, the range that it does, and then the amount of volume that it does as well. But yeah. Pretty heavy on the day relative to everything else.
One of the least expected, I guess, to be bouncing right now is, guys, that's Wayfair. I just saw this one pop up in front of me as well on volume. So coming back into $60 and trying to hold here, a pretty significant level. If you go to the daily chart, we were wondering if this was going to be a bit of a squeeze candidate today. There was an initiation or a upgrade, I think it was, to market perform for Wayfair. From an analyst this morning, we were wondering if this was going to be a squeeze candidate today. Given the high short percent, obviously with such a weak market, not the case, but trying to hold here at $60 for Wayfair.
Just a couple of things first. We're going to get to Wayfair in a second. We got to show you the trades, right? So Meta, I was trying to battle under that 300. It's a real battle in here. So sitting in, I'm like, I should just sit in it again. Looks like the buying came in. I saw the futures start to look a little bit strong. It might not be the right play to sit in it. The ideal entry here sometimes would be for it to break the range to the upside, trap some people in the long, and then try to catch it on the way back in. So don't wait for it to make a move up or a strong one that looks like it's breaking upside and then try to get on the way down. Otherwise, allow it to break the next leg down. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient around Meta. As far as Wayfair goes, I think we did talk a little bit about this in terms of the opportunity for it to go, but the volume was just so bad this morning. So the opportunity would have been you're breaking the bottom on the dailies. You can see holding yesterday's low in the pre-market and then like potentially breaking it back out and squeezing because that is a big short float. Well, the open, it just died, right? Like there was no break. It was just a flush into the downside. It doesn't even hold yesterday's low. It's not even bouncing at yesterday's low. The good thing about squeeze plays and highly shorted names is you generally know what you want to do with them. And for me, it's really not about defending bids. If a stock is a high short float and I'm looking for a squeeze play to the upside, then it's got to be running stops up. Like I'm joining at tops and breakouts and consolidations over previous resistance levels, not trying to catch bottoms on a squeeze name. I don't think that's the way you do it. So thankfully, Wayfair was not a trade today. But, there's always a but in there. If it falls enough, sometimes the rubber band action gets pretty good. As I said, a lot of stocks are pulling back, and we can expect to see some very interesting levels, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Wayfair at 50 for a bounce play when it has its short float, that's a spicy one. I don't mind. But it just feels like this is now trending into the 50s here.
Yeah, definitely. I think Wayfair is a Chinese company. Is it? I think, or they have.
No.
No? Okay. I was gonna say it's doing very similar to
commercial. Wayfair, you got just what I need. No.
No, I'm not too familiar with it.
You guys know the commercial.
No,
I can't get that crap out of my
my
head.
sister's ordered furniture from them.
Yeah.
She's pretty satisfied with what she's had. But bit of a fade today. More of a market move. I'm gonna assume market's pretty heavy today. Respecting VWAP again, we're seeing a lot of that similar story on a lot of these tickers. A bit of a slow grind down back to the lows on Wayfair. Just taking a look left like we just did, not really too much that until this 57 area right here. So yeah, if we do kind of break, just like Neil said, there's like air just until that 57 mark that I see here. No real support, but that's if we can come down. Now Wayfair did kind of have this like exhaustion top. Wow, Neil, I didn't even notice this right here. Take a look at that volume candle on the day. Sorry, not that one. Take a look at that volume candle on the day when we did test that 91. This is literally like, this looks like pure exhaustion right there. You wipe out some shorts on some heavy volume, almost quote unquote, the opposite of capitulation there, a bit of exhaustion into that 91, and then you fade nice and easy back down into some of these consolidation levels. Looking left, right there, you guys can see that level, 56.45, 57-ish area. Let's see what we can do with that in the coming weeks.
All right, ARM, bottom of the board there. We were discussing ARM specifically in the sense that it was the most active this morning in the pre-market, but it was more about IPOs in general in a market that was relatively weak right across the board. These have been just a mess since they've come to market, and I'm speaking of obviously CART, ARM, and this Clavio, KVYO. That was the latest, very, very low volume on KVYO, FYI. Today, ARM sitting here, though, at 50.5. Really no significant news on any of these today, but ARM specifically, there was a couple of analysts initiating coverage on once again today. That one's going to be the one that kind of stands out as the most covered, the most talked about. Instacart, too, to some extent, but ARM, because of its industry, definitely more so, but relative weakness, once again, for ARM.
Yeah, you know what's amazing is, like in lunch money, I'll be accountable here. There was a couple of ideas on lunch money, one of which I did do. That's ARM. The other one I didn't do, which was the JPM short. I was like, JPM has some room to play some catch up, and you just short off VWAP on lower highs and pops. I didn't do it on JPM, and it flushed $1.40 or $1.50. But on ARM, we were sort of saying, well, not sort of. We were sort of. Well, I was saying, I guess I say we a lot, but I mean myself. Look, I didn't get the flush at the open, so I didn't get 53 short. But it showed you the lower high. Like, this is it. You wait for it to make a level. Maybe I don't get it there because we're trading meta and all that other stuff. So 51.5, it's like the money fills are over VWAP, and you play it to the low of the day. So wait for it to break VWAP, get into the quarters in front of the 50, and then let it roll over. The good sign is the market just bounced 20 points, 30 points, maybe a little bit more than that. The NASDAQ, I mean, about 30 points. And yeah, you're still holding underneath the IPO issue price of 51. So it's barcoding underneath. I think it's short. That means the short's good. So I'm hanging on to it. I mean, up there, I'll probably take some fills if we get up there again and just rinse and repeat. I've felt that this is a short till it's not. The valuation is nonsensical as far as I'm concerned. Like 100 PE is like ridiculous. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you throw historically what IPOs generally do after the first week or two, where they're not good long-term entry points for most stocks when they get to that point. It's a mature company. They actually had, from a fundamental standpoint, they had slowing growth like quarter over quarter going into this. So how do you justify that PE at that point? The other one that we were in, and apparently every now and then you go to the well, and like the sixth time, I always say like the third time's not a charm. The sixth time wasn't a charm on Instacart. It was if you had a wider stop than I did. That's the other IPO defending the $30 level, which is the issue price. Somebody was doing it. I was just sitting on the bid while it was happening. You're getting these nice little bumps. You scalp out of it when it goes to the upside. Now, the sixth time I got in, they rinsed the stops. Because like, you can see what's happening. Like, every single time you're able to get fills out, but it's like lower highs, lower highs. It's grinding. Everybody's going long at ones and twos, and there's more people on the offer, so it's slowing down. And then they run the stops underneath, and the second they run the stops, look what happens. It just flies right back up. So then you get the big move because everybody that was long just got stopped out. Hand up, I was one of them. So sixth time, not a charm. And then it goes right back to the 30 level. Now, I'm not in it here because this market looks really weak, and I feel like that's enough of a trap. If they can't hold on to this and we break 29.90, it could be a great short on Instacart. And I want to make sure. I did pay for locates on this. I'm actually questioning whether I did. Oh, I did. I have offers on this. Okay, so it was just testing an order. I just wanted to make sure I had locates. I was pretty sure I paid for it. If we break 29.90 and they give up the IPO issue, I think it's worth the short. But I'm not shorting it through 30 because this level, it just seems to recover every single time it gets down there. I might not go into that long again. There's 90 minutes left, but for right now, I'm feeling like I'm done with this level for today. It was a good one, but now I'm kind of waiting for it to break to the downside.
Yeah, ARM lower. I don't know. Maybe it is kind of in that direction, right, Neil? This is the second week that it's been trading. We've defined a lot of levels here, right here, as you can see out the opening price. So we saw that we hit that 71, 72 in the after hours. That was pretty crazy. That 69 flush right out the second day right there. Bit of a trend to the downside, and then we come back in and define some newer levels on top of this 50. So yeah, I think it does have the potential to get lower if we can get below this 50. The trend is pretty obvious here since it's made its debut 2 weeks ago. And yeah, we can take a look at this hourly real quick just to see where we've been coming in. Take a look at that. You pop 70. Flush, that exhaustion kind of happens in the after hours, so it kind of gives more direction to potentially just shorts getting squeezed out in that action off the first day move, and then you kind of flush all the way back down. So let's see going forward whether or not we can hold kind of this 50 level here on ARM. That's what I'll be watching for. But you know what? If the chips are going to sell off, if Nvidia is going to sell off, if the market's going to sell off, then yeah, I think it's very rational for ARM to expect ARM to also sell off there.
All right, one more thing here quickly, guys. Pfizer, there was a note from the company over lunchtime about the RSV vaccine. they're going to price it at $295 per dose. Don't ask me if that's good or bad or high or low or whatever. But anyway, some volume coming in here at the lows. Once again, 32.50 for PFE. The rundown, as always, brought to you as well by Trade Ideas. You can check out their web version. There was an update. This was sent to me by Mr. Noss, who is in Vegas for the weekend. But really cool update that they've done to their web version. So if you just go to tradeIdeas.com, there's a search box right here. You can type in whatever you want. I'll just hit the SPY. And then this chart now, it has this really cool little expansion tool where you can make it full screen, just like that. Works great as well. Zoom in, zoom out. There's data available for you. Delayed, obviously, if you're just logging in without an account. But check out Trade Ideas, guys. TraderTv20, as always, will get you 20% off.
That's a cool looking feature. I don't know if that pop was a bit of a fail or trap. I said trap. I don't know, fail. It's a trap. But we were waiting for a bounce. I didn't want to short 45s on Tesla. So looking for the bounce. It goes into previous resistance. When you're stair-stepping down, that's kind of what I want to play. So there is 247.5. There's your wick up to 248. It gets back under the half. Go short. Give to here. Maybe it leaves some room to add to it. Meta's still not doing anything off that 300. Like it bounced up, and I'm thinking it gets to VWAP in a move like this, and maybe it's a more obvious short, closer to 02s. Tesla got to a level I liked. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know that Meta gave me that entry. NVIDIA certainly, though. Like maybe off the 416 here. It's like, do you want to be short everywhere? That's what I'm always asking myself. Like, if you're short Tesla, do you also need to be short NVIDIA to be sure? Yeah, I'm a Star Wars guy, Kevin Mendoza. I probably overused that one. I'm actually currently reading a Star Wars book. Not that anyone cares about that. But yeah, short in here on Tesla. I'll give it to 248. I want to see some weakness getting back into the low of the day. We could very well be making a bottom in the market, and that's kind of like a trap to go back into the shorts and you bounce higher. But I think it's a pretty obvious out here. I don't have to worry about where I'm wrong on the trade. I think that's going to be obvious on that wick. If you're hunting back over to see what's going on with the biggest and the baddest, that's Apple. Oddly enough, Apple broke down again. So while other names were making a bounce off the bottom, Apple is now trying to catch up by flushing through 175. Ooh, that's a bit weird. But if this is under 175, then this market shouldn't be going higher. Like this was the level this morning where like if Apple can't hold out and get green from here, and we test that 170 under 75 into 74, things should be really bad for this market. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, easy stop for me on Tesla. I do want to have a quick look back over at what was the strongest name, and I know these Chinese ADRs don't always move. Bob is up 5%, and it just took VWAP, right? Like that's pretty strong on volume. Now this wick isn't real; that's just a dark pool wick. But big wick here, getting above VWAP. Maybe if the market is going to go up, why not join a party that's already to the upside in Alibaba?
Yeah, I wish I could do the animation for another one. Because it's another one of those VWAP respects. We were talking about how some of these ADRs are respect.
Another one.
There we go, right there. Thank you.
Another one.
So.
Another one.
Yes.
It does it 3 times.
3 times, and take a look. Bubba has a respect, actually 4 times, I guess, after that opening consolidation.
That's 4.
Yeah, about 4 times. So DJ Khaled got it right there, almost 3 out of 4. But yeah, that. Definitely catching a bit of a bounce here. Let's see how far we can get. I'm watching this 129 pretty closely here on Amazon. The trend is pretty strong to the downside here, but we're kind of wicking just below some of these opening range lows and then popping right back into the range. I got Google and Microsoft on watch as well. I don't want to get into a trade after 2:30. After 2:30 p.m. I hear Brankles from the back there. He's I don't know what he's saying there, but
the peanut gallery is awfully loud.
Heard my name there, but of course, only good things. Wow. I don't know about
As
that.
he's practicing his putting. Well, he's obviously working harder than you, Brankles. Let's be real about that for a
I don't
second.
think so, man. I definitely. Definitely could be kicking it up a notch. No, as of late, I've kind of toned down a little bit of the hard work, especially when it comes to the quota I get done when at home. Kind of replacing that time with family time as of recent. Neil,
Yeah.
are you a fan of Lord of the Rings?
I'm a nerd.
So I'm not too big of a fan, but I enjoy the movies. I haven't read the books.
The books are overrated. Jared Tolkien is actually a pretty overrated writer.
Really?
The Hobbit was pretty good. Lord of the Rings is not a great. It's not a great read.
So
You know what? That's just me talking.
yeah.
Hobbit's fine.
Yeah, they were good. I think people don't like the movies as much, I think.
Oh no, the movies are far better than the books.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where it's the other. For most people, I would say it's the other way around. It's just like maybe it's a stylistic thing. Like I actually also there's a few authors that I'm not a fan of. Like I can't read Margaret Atwood. I think Handmaid's Tale is a great show. I can't get past a chapter. It's just her writing style. And I think the same thing with Tolkien. It's just like George R. R. Martin for Game of Thrones. It's like he can paint this picture of an incredible world, and it's so complex and it's so deep, and yet you're still engaged with it, and it's easy to read. Tolkien, it's just I can't. Like and you read Lord of the Rings, and it's like wow, the movies are so good.
The Silmarillion.
The what?
Is that what it's called? The Silmarillion?
That's okay.
I haven't read it, but I know it might be definitely one of those books that's a tough read. But what's that?
Fabian's in the ear talking about it. It's just I don't know. Like to each their own. Like I don't want to. Yeah, like, I don't want to be that guy. It's like, okay, well, that's just your opinion, Neil. The guy's literally a legendary author. Who the hell am I to say about Tolkien? But I've never enjoyed reading Lord of the Rings. That's just me.
Okay, yeah. So anyways, getting back to the story, I've been spending more time with family. They haven't seen Lord of the Rings, so every day we kind of sit down around dinner time and watch about like an hour. So we got through all the Hobbit movies in the past few weeks.
Nice.
And then we're on the second Lord of the Rings. Actually just finished it on the last movie now.
That's
Two Towers we just finished, and then I'm forgetting what the last one is called. But yeah, that one's going to be up next.
and you enjoy them.
Yeah, of course. And again, my parents haven't seen these movies ever, so this is their first time kind of seeing it. They're enjoying it very much. So give a new experience.
Gotta have that family time.
Yeah, for sure.
The best is when you're showing them these movies, but like I grew up, and I actually don't know if my mom knew this, but like my dad would take my brother and I to the theater. He was a big movie buff, and like we were young, and he would just take us to the crap that he wanted to see. Like I actually have a nightmare about the movie like 2010. Like it's crazy. Like I think whenever that movie came out, I must have been like 7 or 8 years old, and I'm in this theater watching an advanced sci-fi flick, and I have no idea what's going on. And like some scenes that were not scary when I watch it now, I'm like, why was I terrified by this? So he'd take us to James Bond movies when I was too young to watch them. He'd take us to any sci-fi when I was way too young to watch those as well, which is why I think I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to science fiction. Actually, I know that's the truth. But I haven't done that with my daughter yet. She won't even watch Star Wars. Like, my wife is like, she's too young for Star Wars. I'm like, no, she's not. I watched this when I was a lot younger than that. But let's go back to the market for a second, because we're still battling. I still feel pretty solid about we're just consolidating for another potential push down. Now, BABA's a strong stock, so maybe that's a little bit different. But Tesla, like, it's still holding the pocket. I don't even have I should be bidding. Let's bid. If it gets down to 246, I should take the bid there. But it's still kind of going sideways off this consolidation. So not a lot is happening. Like you pick your spot. Like you could be long off this. You could be short off this. If it breaks up, great. Maybe you get 49 into 50. If it breaks down, obviously you can see what I'm looking for. But it just feels as if we're ready to tank again. Javi saying it is Javi, right? Life W again? Not that stock. Really? That stock's going again? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Come on, load. Let's go. Yeah, that's going again. Why didn't I like this one? I'm trying to remember. I did trade this the other day. Why did I give up on this stock? Probably because it broke down. Sometimes I'll do that. Like a stock fails making higher lows as a penny stock, and I give up on the breakout. So it hasn't broken out yet. But yeah, I give up on it when it goes underneath there. But then the recovery was pretty strong. Breaks out that double top. That's not a bad entry because you're 25 long with a cent worth of risk, maybe a cent and a half. It's already a couple in the money. Yeah, great look. I missed that one. That's a good, that's a good looking like penny stock setup, because a lot of people like myself, we were looking at this week, and you give up on it when it breaks down, it reclaims the 20-cent level, and now you've got yourself a little bit of a trade. Congratulations on you. Some people in the chat asking what brokers do you use. There's always questions like that. I think the chat's a great place. We have so many traders from different walks of life that use different platforms. We're on a prop floor using PPro8, which is proprietary to Day Trade the World, which is a prop firm. We trade firms' capital. So, unless you are Day Trade the World, you're not going to use our system. And so it's not easy for me to say, oh, this like Weeble's good or whomever at any given moment, because I don't use them and I couldn't really tell you. But yeah, usually you can get a good idea through a lot of people in the chat can give you answers. And we've got a lot of experienced traders in the community here that I think you'll get good answers from. And everyone's really nice to each other. There's no bad questions in this chat, generally speaking. You do have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. All you got to do is hit the like and the subscribe. Probably the subscribe first if you want to be in the chat, then hit the like later. And then you're able to, I can see your questions, we can answer them, and you can talk to people in our community. We get lots of ideas out there. I see some interactive brokers, people are saying. Sharif uses IBKR, so that's not too bad. I have friends that use IBKR as well. Let's go to Brendan at the desk.
Just checking into this one, guys. Heavy volume right now and a decent move here for WW, formerly Weight Watchers. Heavy volume coming in here as well. This is another one with a decent sized short float. So just a heads up here on WW.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like,
What's going on
I remember the last I looked at this, it was, and I'm just going to call them Weight Watchers. It doesn't matter to me. A 12% short float. Like this is just another company. It's like you rebrand yourself and expect most people to just say the different name. We're not going to do it. We're just going to say Weight Watchers. But yeah, this $10 level, look at it, double top. Well, not really a double top, but kind of a double top. The short float's not, I thought it was over 20%. I'm going to be honest. 12% isn't as big as I thought this was. But if it fails 10, like I don't see why you're not just dumping off this 10 level again. Maybe it could break out. You know what, I'm gonna stay away from that one, because when I look at it here, it's like, okay, you're off 9. Can you break out and consolidate and rip faces off to the upside? Then I look at the daily chart. I'm like, I don't know. Like that's failing the 50 period. I almost feel like a failed break upside of the 50 period, then going back to what it was doing for the last 2 days is the better trade. So I'm just going to stay away from that one. Dr. J, analysis on Netflix long-term breakdown, please. Ooh. Shakedown, breakdown, Netflix is busted. What movie is that from? Someone in the chat called me 1,000 years old. I saw that. I see these things. It's fine. I'm not that young.
That's pretty cool. That just basically means that you're potentially immortal.
Only you could swing that into a compliment. That's, you know what?
Like immortality. Like I mean, it was a.
Hey, come on.
Is that a new one? It's the first time I've seen that one. But the elixir of life, the fountain of youth. As growing up as a child, I thought that thing actually maybe I still do.
Nobody wants to.
But you know what? I think that the fact that here's an interesting thing. I know we're going to go a little bit off topic here, but here's the thing. The fountain of youth has been mentioned in different cultures around the world where those cultures never even met up.
Okay,
how crazy is that?
Don't give him the Confucius thing right now.
When something like that happens, there may or may not be some truth. It may go on to the fact that like most humans kind of like, fantasize about living forever, and maybe they're just like, okay, that could play onto that part as well. But the fact that everybody came up with some sort of fountain of youth, it could have been like a cup of water or like whatever, right? You know what I mean? But
Indiana Jones, man.
Yeah, of course.
You seen Indiana Jones' Last Crusade? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
there's different iterations of the same story, but yeah.
I would not want to live forever. Who would want to live forever?
Forever young?
I just can't see a reason why you'd ever want to live forever. Like, okay, so basically you get to see everybody, consistently see everybody that you love pass away. I think that's actually, it's a low-key tragedy. There's a very...
that would be pretty...
Robert Heinlein wrote a book, and I read this last year. It's like, literally the chat actually told me to read the science fiction, and it's about a guy who's like the longest living human ever. And it's a really, really fantastic book, and I'll try to think of the name of it in a second. But it is the whole point is that it's sad, because why would you, and anyways, I won't get into that, I'll probably spoil it. There can be only one, Christian. Yeah, a little Highlander action for you. Now that's about as realistic as a Fountain of Youth, and a fantastic story as well. But looking out for Tesla here, you're still in the channel, but you are testing higher. Let's see if it can't maybe fail to 48. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it wants to fail at 48. Oddly enough, like the one that's, like, you know, why didn't I just reload ARM? Just stick with the same one. I could have just reloaded ARM. I thought ARM was going to get above VWAP again, and I've been taking all my fills over. I said that was the plan. Short ARM every time it gets above VWAP, and then take it out as it goes under on the way to 50. But I could have just shorted it at VWAP, and that would have been pretty good. Angry Bear, how are my sword fighting skills? I may need them. Pretty darn terrible. Pretty darn terrible. Yeah, it's just, I don't have that skill, man. My skill in, anyways, I'm not going to get into it.
What, sword fighting?
Sword fighting's a bit weird. It was not the Age of Adeline. I'll remember it. It's, let me look it up. I'll get the name of that book at some point. But,
you know they have real like lightsaber fighting tournaments?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen those? It's
I mean,
pretty interesting, pretty cool.
I don't roll that deep, but
no, but I've seen it happen. Those guys seem very, very skilled. Kind of nice choreography there. I see I see the super chat here. NCS you kid, okay. $5 super chat. Thank you. What is going on with Google? Is there a trade there? Okay, sure. We can take a look at Google here, not Goog. People harp me in the chat about calling it Google. Fun fact. Trades on two different class of shares, Class A and Class B. The Class B shares being the Goog, sorry, Class C being the Goog, and then there is the Goog L as well, Class A shares right there. So yeah, is there a trade here potentially? Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look here on the Google. So we are kind of consolidating above this initial reaction low, kind of yesterday's after hours and the day low as well, kind of consolidation. So sure, yeah, maybe potential long here off the 130. We talked about the 130 being an area of interest as we saw that come in yesterday. It's also a level on the long-term chart, kind of an over-under, kind of a support-ish area here. In and around 130, but yeah, a bit of a bid catching here. Take a look at this consolidation. It's building back into the upside here. If the NQs and the ES decide to do a little bit of a bounce, you can already see I have Google here. This consolidation, bit of a flat top breakout in terms of this quick ascending price action into this 130.50s. Yeah, that could give us a nice little push here. I was thinking about the Amazon short. As you guys know, I'm waiting for the next best trade right now, and I don't see anything too much worth my time here in terms of a trade. Now we still have Power Hour. We saw what the markets have done, or I personally saw what the markets have done in the last hour of trading in the past couple of days, and I am maybe looking for a potential strong directional move. Something like a not an easy trade, but maybe a straightforward trade here on some of these large caps going into the close. I'm also seeing SPYs kind of holding the support area here right on top of the 430. So yeah, you can have a potential trade here if you keep your risk tight. I think that 130 is definitely an area to interact with. If we bid back up on the futures, we could see that reversion, about a 50% reversion maybe of this straight selling we've been seeing since 1 p.m. I think it was off of Fed talks that we got this serious selling into this consolidation. So maybe we can get a little bit of reversion back into that price. But that 14.9, I'm definitely watching as we were earlier today. That 15 and that 14.9, about 100-point kind of churn here on the NQs. So if this can get going, if you have confluence, if you have the VWAP, where is VWAP on here? That's the next question. So right there, perfect. So if we go back and test VWAP, there you go. You're going to get your 50% retracement of whatever of this price action that we've had, this selling since 1 p.m. down into the 130. If we can get back into VWAP, which is 131. That's about a point move back up to the top. So yeah, you could potentially get that. That's if the market kind of does that bounce. But yeah, Neil, do you see anything on Google there?
You know what? So just a couple of things. Someone in the chat asked for a poll, so I'm like, why not? We can do that. We do it all the time. Will the NASDAQ close green or red today? I actually...
You gotta ask the 8 ball?
Nah, well, someone asked for a poll. So instead of the 8 ball, we'll put the poll up. I vote, obviously I'm short, but I voted for green. That way, I'm always winning. No, I'm just kidding. But we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously the market is actually up, even despite the fact that we rolled over from the top. The market is actually green on the day. Guys, whatever you said in my ear, I didn't actually catch it. Just so I know, you can repeat it if you want. I did miss out on that. And just a couple of things here. Stay on target. Yeah, I'm trying to stay on target. Tesla did that little bit of a dip and fade. Remember I said, like, let's see what happens if it can't bust. Give me the fill. I was like, let me see what happens if it can't bust to 248, which is, we were waking up before, I'm sitting in the consolidation and nothing's really happening. So it goes up, tests 248 on the dime. Okay, well, let's just get in front of that, scalp some out, and then we'll ride it to the low of the day. Okay, so I'm not all short. I did get in Alibaba. The reason for that, sometimes I like to play it in both directions. I figured that if BABA was going to break out at VWAP, and usually we go sideways, if the market went up or just if this decided to go on its own, BABA's the one Chinese ADR that I like to play sometimes in the afternoon that might move. So I'm like, I'll sit in the consolidation. If it can hang on, maybe we can get back into the high of the day. The risk to reward would be pretty good. But if I just stick with the shorts, Neil, maybe I could have doubled up and grabbed something else. I mean, I like Tesla. Like when Tesla was at 245, like we liked it on the bounce, just had to wait for it to bounce. Got up here, gave us a consolidation. Let's see if it can't pop to 246. We'll take another leg out. As the market, it ain't red yet. Get your bets on. Get your bets on. What do you think? Like, what do you guys, I mean, Google was what we were just talking about. And I don't know if I see a great trade in Alphabet today. If you look at how fantastic that V-shape is off the open, if you weren't short 132 or short VWAP, I think like for this stock, maybe it just needs to get back up into here at VWAP, right? Have a reason to play it. Like Tesla, see the reason why you can take the first available pop in Tesla, because the stock's going ham, right? Broke support, and you've got a huge move to the downside. That means in either direction you got some play. But in Google's case, and this is nothing against Alphabet, like out of all the big seven, it usually does the worst volume. But yeah, it's not really moving all that much. So you want to make sure that you get in at a price that if it only gives you to 30 to 40 cents or 50 cents, you can just go ahead and take that. And I don't know that it's trading at a level like this. 130 long, maybe that's just something you want to play off of. Certainly VWAP up here for a short would make some sense. I don't mind that at all. It's just not really seeing it. Yeah, the shakedown, breakdown, you're busted. That was Beverly Hills Cop, and the name of the story was Time Enough for Love by Robert Heinlein. Fantastic novel. But like I said, we had to get back to trading there. ARM is still trying to get above VWAP and sticking with the pattern, which is short above, profit below. Just double checking what's... I'm chuckling already because I bet you this is still at 30. Hilarious. And we had a discussion, actually I had a really good discussion with Wayne and Brankles on the floor about a way to have profited from this. Even though I was always going to stop out underneath, that's like the last time I got the long, a way to possibly try to jump back into a trade like that. Because if you weren't either holding for a deeper stop, which you could have been, like I said, I wouldn't short till 29.90. So if you were only stopping out at 29.90, like you hit the jackpot there on that move, and now you're right back into 30. There's a way to be able to do that. It's just, I always play it safe. If you're going to sit there and take 5, 10, 15 cent wins, then just suck it up and take the 5 cent hit when eventually it comes. It's just par for the course. The Bose, short Micron just under VWAP. Let's see. Oh, Micron is under 69. Ooh. The number, it's a level. I'm not saying 69 for that reason. It's just...
I see what you did there.
No.
Under 69?
No. Actually, no, dead serious. Like, this is a previous support level. Just come to my chart so this doesn't seem like I was... Like, I'll joke around about 420 and whatever and all that other good stuff. Tesla low today. So here's 69 on the daily chart. And it is a flat bottom break on Micron underneath that level. So the fact that you are dancing here, like it couldn't break out above it yesterday. That's why I know it's a level, guys. And then it higher low, puts it in, tries to break out, fails under 70, and now you're resisting underneath 69. If this consolidation resolves underneath, yeah, That's a good level. If this market wants to continue down, the problem, and here's the trouble with that trade. This is the problem. We're just chopping 30 handles on the NASDAQ. So to look for that to resolve lower, is it going to do so when we're just in a chop range? Maybe not, because this is not a stock that's flying around. If anything, you might just have it chop you out if you try to short that. So you short the breakdown 68.80, it probably just dances around, you get caught, lose 25 cents. I want this market testing lower, breaking lower, all that good stuff. And again, this is why I favor Tesla, because Tesla's flying around. So Tesla's local range is this $3 range. So I don't have to worry about, is there a chance that you can get the bigger move out of Tesla? Well, Tesla's giving you the moves today. I just got to 246, so quickly there. At first in was at 47. We managed to get our average price to 47.5 because it gave you the wick at 48. Now in that situation, I'm choosing between put more risk toward the Tesla trade or find something else short. Didn't like anything else short. Meta's still doing absolutely nothing. I liked Meta short early. This was the name I was short mostly today. But look at what it's doing. So am I going to trade that? No. So if I can't find a better idea and I want more risk onto the short, just go more into the one if it sets up. And it did. Take some legs out at the low of the day. I'm going to hold for 245. Let's see if we can get it. This market does not seem to want to go red, but for now, looking. Oh, that's the wrong bear. I'm on the wrong page.
Yay, 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 yay. That's not a bear. That's
what I was
saying. Okay. Nice.
It loses the effect if I hit the wrong one twice first.
Third time's a charm.
Neil.
Third time's a charm, though.
It's not. Oh, for the love of. No, see, I didn't even mean to hit the Brennan Goat one. It's just like when I switch pages, like page 2, I hit one button. But then if I go back to page 1, it didn't work right away. And then when it switched, when I hit it a second time, on that page, it's Brendan Goat. So, and that's not even a goat. It's like a sheep. That's the crazy thing about it. I was like, this is not a goat.
Yay, 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 yay.
Like it's,
yeah.
But like the button says Brendan Goat, and that's very clearly a sheep. Like I don't know who did that. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Jean-Maxime saying Tesla 243 for the end of the day. I'm down with that. Let's go.
Yeah, Tesla's still coming in, eh?
That'll work.
Wow.
That'll work.
Yeah, Tesla is distinctly different from. You're short now. Nice. Yeah, Tesla distinctly different from the rest of these names in the market here. We were talking about that Google. That Google did break out of that consolidation, pop right back up into that 130.80-ish area. Oh, here, let me change this tape here for you guys. Okay, cool. Right there. So, yeah, you take a look at that. 130.60s printing right now. Tesla seems like it's pretty heavy to the downside there, catching a bit of a sell. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see if this trend kind of continues here on Amazon, this downtrend here. We did go a little bit sideways. We're breaking that trend from before. But if some of these names are going to stay
Can I ask you a silly question?
Quite heavy. Yes, sir.
You're the Amazon guy.
Yes.
There's a 25-cent. What?
I just said yes. I'll answer the question. I'm not the Amazon guy.
You're the Amazon guy. So I'm asking you the Amazon question.
All right.
So you got a liquidity grab, massive volume candle down here for the low. And now you're sort of barcoding higher lows here. And I'm not saying you should be trying to find a bottom and try to pick a long, but like a lot of times that signals the bottom. The market just, like you saw Tesla get to the low of the day. I saw the market, kind of look like it was turning. Amazon breaking this range is 25 cents worth of risk to get the long, and if it gets to 30, that's not even VWAP. So you say why that's a bad trade. And by the way, Zoltan, I don't have the reloaded animation. I said it this morning, I do not have a lot of the animations that Sean has, and I need to just get them loaded up here. One of these days, we'll work on it. We get busy, and it's not always a priority, but like I don't have the reloaded. I don't have a lot of the really cool ones, and it's just a matter of taking the time to load it on my Stream Deck. So. And unfortunately, like Obi's logged in on a different user ID, so he doesn't have Sean's animations.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, like I don't have, yeah. So by the way, Obi, like, anyways, the thing that I was sort of talking myself
literally
into,
happening right now. I'm watching that.
You should have just punched it, right? Like
Yeah,
because that looks like
punchable. That was definitely
no, like that
punchable.
looks like to me. Come back to my chart for a second. let's just walk through it again. Volume spike bottom. When you look for a big wick bottom, like trapping, you want it to have a decent volume spike. And it's not comparing to the open or anything like that, but it's a decent volume spike. Yeah. And you get the massive rejection underneath. And then the same level that broke holds up as support, consolidation, higher lows, break out the top. Now you'd be in this one at 22 to 25, and it only went to 46. So that's 1 to 1. It gave you 1 to 1, and then maybe you're still holding on to it. That's not a bad setup, I don't think at all. Even if you think the market's going down, which I still do, the market just made a move to the upside. And again, one of the reasons, like I should have just hit that trade. I'm a little biased to the short side. Like that actually looked really good. It doesn't really matter now because I think I've missed it already. So 14.9 just got taken out on the NASDAQ. At this point, Tesla has behaved differently. So I do not want to give this up yet, but you have a double bottom here. Let's see, if it can roll over at 247, then we'd still be holding trend. If it starts climbing too strong above 247, I already got some out at the low of the day, trying to hold on to it. The only long I have is Alibaba, which, well, that's not, I mean, it's not moving, but it's not moving. So if it's not going to go anywhere, I might just have to take advantage of whatever pop happens. So I'm just going to get some orders out there just in case we go a little further here in Alibaba. Looks like we are bouncing to the upside. Meta with a strong bounce. Should have punched that. I really should have punched that Amazon.
Yeah, that was a nice consolidation. Similar story there on Google, right? We talked about Google. The markets as well breaking out, especially you have the NQ looking very, very similar to that action. We were talking about that 14.9 break, and that action rips through that 14.9, about 20 points to the upside. This is kind of where that selling accelerated to the downside. So now we're kind of negating and violating back through those prices. So yeah, we can definitely catch a bit of a bid, some pressure, some buying pressure potentially coming in from people who were, again, these were good shorts on the way down. But if price wants to kind of pop back up towards these places, I think some of the people who are short-term short are definitely going to be sweating a little bit and potentially adding to that buying pressure. We know on the day, some of these names, especially like Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla, are pretty faded on the day and as well as on the week. So again, during power hour, can we look for a little bit of bounce, a little bit of reversion, potential covers, end of week? Who knows? Who knows? But seeing as we've just started power hour and some of these longer time frame candles are just starting to print, I'm looking at the 30-minute as well as the hourly as well. This is the second consecutive 30-minute green. And let's check the hourly as well. This should be the first one, yes. So this is one of the first ones, but take a look at that bottom wick on the hourly on the last candle there on Amazon. A bit of a bid getting picked up, so let's see where this can go. This candle kind of just opening and kind of pulling back off of the past hour's opening price, which is, what is the 129.47. All right, so 129.47. Got that level in mind. Let's see what we do with that 129.47. We're right about there. What was the high on this candle right here? High on this candle, 46. Take a look at that. So about a penny away, you rip right back up into that same level of interest, and now you're kind of catching a bit of resistance there. So that was a decent move there. But yeah, you had to be quick. You had to just punch in, like Neil said, on that consolidation break for that quick little pop-up. But if you're chasing now, you might get caught up in a little bit of a sell-off as we kind of ripped right back up into some of these levels. We also talked about that 131 on Google, and look at where we are. We pushed right back into that 131 area. About a 50% retracement like we were talking about. So whoever that was in the chat that asked us, what do we think about Google here? Yeah, definitely. I did not execute on my own idea. Now, clearly, you guys have been with us all day. This is clearly something I got to work on. I have ideas, got to execute on them real time, and yeah, so work in progress. But that was a good trade on the Google and as well as Amazon, in step with that consolidation break on the NQs. I'm still kind of waiting for this consolidation to pan out. Again, the hourly candle just started printing.
Yeah.
I want to know how this kind of consolidates. We've got that first sign of a rip up of that consolidation. Now, if I can get some some higher lows relative to this one and this one, maybe we can get a bit of a curl to the upside there. I want to see the price action and tape confluence with that as well.
It's interesting. We had this conversation before because I know you're looking at futures. When I listen to you and the time frames that you're looking at, I don't wonder if like futures trading is something that might fit your personality a lot. Anyways, I'm just throwing that out there. It doesn't really matter. It's neither here nor there.
May or may not have the risk appetite for that right now.
That's you know what's interesting? That's fair. And I've always said this from the beginning. I've told this before, like I've been trading for quite some time. Like when I started out as a trainee, I was trading big cap tech. I got positive my second month. I couldn't quite graduate. I just couldn't get over the hump. Even though I was green, I just couldn't quite push through. And then it was suggested to me, hey, just go look at some small cap stocks. The way that you approach risk, it might gravitate towards you. Within the first month, I wanted to trade momentum in big cap names. That's what I wanted to do. But the money, like just the second I was doing it, I was making money on small caps. It just happened. And then you can't really care as a trader what your skill set is or what you're better at. You just go ahead and do it. And eventually, like you can grow into more things, but like whatever that first thing is, like if you got a brain for it, just go ahead and do that and make your bank and get your bankroll and then learn some other things along the lines. A couple of things I want to get out of the way. I threw this in the chat, but the lunch money trade of JPM, I missed it. Okay, that's fine. But triple bottom here at 146 earlier. Come to the chart. Triple bottom here, 146 earlier. Fail VWAP, which was kind of the lunch money idea that we had. And as it's popping back up, I just want to kind of short it in front of VWAP. And you had this parabolic move up. I'm not giving up the idea of the shorts right now. Tesla is holding these lows. It might break to the upside. But I'm going to give a shot to the short that still sets up maybe one more time here. And I was looking for something else. I went to an idea that worked before, and it just happens to be JPM. I want to shout out to everybody. If you're curious, Sean, long weekend, getting some time off there. Obi doing a fantastic job setting up. Trust me, we don't change anything around here just because one or two people are missing. We will have the aftermarket show, and I will be doing it for you guys from 4 to 4:30. I'm pretty sure Brendan is going to be joining me. Got a lot of things I want to talk about. As a matter of fact, like just that little conversation now gave me an idea of sort of talking about journeys and different styles of trading and how you can kind of fit it to your personality and the way that you look at the market. Again, like my trading, yeah, the NQ's now flying to the upside. By the way,
teleportation.
This is now getting out of hand to the upside. You're 100% right about this. We just levitated to the upside the second I got into short on JPM. So you can kind of understand that if this busts you up, it's not really going as much as the futures. But if we bust out any further, just going to get instantly out of that. Tesla somehow, some way, has not trailed out yet. There we go. So it got back down, tested the bottoms. It's still trying to put in a lower high, but that was a big move to the upside. If you voted for green, it looks to me, at least for now, the NASDAQ has held on to green, and we're back up 0.5%. So, I mean, I jokingly voted for green because I was short. I was like, yeah, I'm going to win no matter what. No, but it obviously looks like we are holding these bottoms. Well, the only thing I have long is like marginally in the money and not really going anywhere, but that's fine. It's not really worth celebrating there. I want Tesla to hold on. ARM has now busted above VWAP. Now the good fills have been at and above VWAP. I did get cheeky and take one there at 51. Probably shouldn't have. Should always be waiting for it to get to that top. Like this is the range. Be patient. Wait for the top. That's in the quarters. That's in the 30s. When we get there, go into the short. But that is a strong bounce. I feel as if big cap tech land. The 300 hold on Meta means Meta should be something that we look for the long in. Apple already above VWAP, 176, holds the 175 level. Leaning toward Meta for some reason. I don't know why. Call it a gut feeling. It's the way that it traded off that 300 level. Yeah, Meta looks like it could be the one. Because if we dip back down here, it no longer feels like a trap to buy a dip. At least on a relatively strong name. So maybe we're looking for Meta. If it fails VWAP here, 01s is probably a reasonable entry. Tesla, if the short's going to work, Tesla feels like it's still going to be okay. And we're still underneath that 48 level, so I'll give it to break even. And that Amazon break.
Wow.
It was, you know what's interesting? It was good,
Yeah.
but, you know, it was only about 50 cents. I actually would have thought in that move up, Amazon would be above 130.
Yeah, I mean,
even
it's
if-
almost there. It's about a quarter away.
That's fine. It worked, but if you look at the other longs ideas,
Yeah.
like if you just went long Meta, like that actually is a little bit more explosive risk to reward if you went long the consolidation Meta. Like it was a good setup on Amazon. Just
Oh no, that's much better. You
Meta's
have the
just-
300 as well.
it's just a better,
and a
better trade.
flat. It's like flat. It's being almost defended, kind of like yeah.
What's interesting about this is like, so it trapped some, well, I don't know if it really trapped the shorts here because like I wasn't that short. Like I don't know how you're not getting out of, if you shorted underneath when it looked like it was breaking down, like I don't know why you're holding on to it past 300.5. If you are, it's just that's nonsensical. You're stopped out here anyways. So I don't know that you trapped any shorts here, but you certainly have held this like a charm at that 300. Now the question is, can we dip back down into the downside to give an entry on a dip buy? I'm not sure we get a chance at it. Battling VWAP here on JPM. It's like the second I find something else I like short, you get that quote levitation on the futures, unfortunately. Katina's in the house?
Oh yeah.
Where is he?
Sean's in the
What's he
chat.
saying?
He just sent a winky face, I guess.
What do you mean
What's up,
only a
Sean?
winky face? What up, dude?
How you doing? We miss you.
Hey, if you're in the chat and you're listening to me, Sean, we at least want to consider changing to KC, but just message me about that. I'm talking about our Survivor League. And you know who I still want in the fantasy. We should probably talk about that. But see, it's hilarious. Like the timing of that, was that the exact moment the futures turned? Would that be funny? I know Frank does that sometimes, but that's kind of jokes if that's the case. He knows what I'm talking about. With that. We had San Fran last night for half of our entries in Survivor. And I think like 380 people out of 2,400 in the Wall Street Suicide League we're in. Like that's not a lot. There's like 1 out of 6 people had San Fran, so 1 out of 6 are through, and we put half of our entries on there, so we're ahead of the game right now. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't make a safer pick with KC because of that. That's all I'm saying. So Sean knows what's up. Now, will the market roll around here? Mike Pena thinks it will. I don't know if I want to give it that chance. I just trailed out of Tesla. I feel like that was, we'll see. Like the market looked relatively strong. Like we're holding that push to the upside on the futures, and Tesla's consolidating up. So I don't want to throw that away. I think it was a good short, and if you've double bottomed, Tesla's exactly the kind of stock that can see 250 here. Oh, Renata was just asking where my out was. I just trailed it to the consolidation level, like the original entry in here. Usually what I'm thinking, like I'm not giving it to the same high when it makes a move like that. Because it's like it's going to make the decision at this point, and the decision for me is usually, okay, we're back into here where we consolidated before, add to it or get out. Right? So I decided get out. Maybe that was a time to roll back over. But JPM's holding VWAP. I can always get back into that one or add into it. ARM is at my entry point as well. I'm going to get an offer on that. We'll see what happens. Lots of bangs, lots of bangs. I just want to see the future show some signs of weakness because we keep ticking higher. The NASDAQ and the ES are both just floating up. And I'm like, what is so strong besides Meta?
Meta's
strong,
kind of wild.
But Meta's failing VWAP as we speak. Meta won't punch through. Apple's kind of pulling back into VWAP. I haven't looked at Microsoft.
Gotta check some of these ETFs as well.
Microsoft can't punch through VWAP. Where's the extra push here?
Here, let's check the map real quick just to see. Yeah, where is this strength really coming in from here? And maybe Nvidia seems like it's pretty strong there. UNH, no, not really. Energy's not really up. Yeah, where is that strength coming up? We were talking, and I was like, oh, that 14.9 break, that 14.920, and then I was watching it. It started teleporting like 15 points at a time, real quick, back up towards this level. I was like, what is going on? The NQs are teleporting. That's pretty wild. Maybe a bit of end of day covering that we talked about it potentially coming in because there's no catalyst.
Which would be covering shorts.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's like as soon as that buying pressure is gone, like you said, I'm looking for the NQ to start to slow down.
Yeah.
Where I'm looking for the same, but clearly the long off of some of these bottoms was not wrong, especially on the Google. And yeah, for sure on the off the 128 here on Amazon there. But yeah, this is wild. Let's see if the next candle can kind of continue to the upside here. That 130 potentially coming in, revisit of that VWAP. 50% retracement, potential for 100% retracement here on the Google. But yeah, no, definitely missed a couple of missed trades from me for sure. I guess I wasn't very punctual in staying on these ideas there for that long, but I am still kind of looking for that for that next trade. Maybe I'll just save the risk for the close potentially. But yeah, we got about 45 minutes left in the day. I'm looking for that last hour of some sort of distinct action, and then take a look. We're getting some pretty distinct action as we speak right now, as Amazon continues to push higher. The NQs, take a look at that. You can see that teleportation happening right now, a few points at a time. Consolidation in the morning right here. These lows at the 14,980 area is the next kind of level I'm seeing here. We also have this high from the pre-market right there in this initial consolidation high as well, where we're kind of slowing. So a bit of a stacked resistance potential right here and underneath this 15 thou. Again, 15 thou definitely a level of interest. Here comes a bit of selling there on Google, second consecutive red, just on the 3 though. But the first kind of action that we're seeing after this consolidation, so maybe the selling will come in right now. This 130 as well, we know kind of being a key area. Maybe that is also an over-under. Take a look at that, the NQ candle going a little bit red right now.
Yeah, now you're starting to see a little bit of a slowdown. I think the logic is dead on about short sort of covering. Like it's been a week. That's like the third time I've said that. And then you get like this punch to the downside where everything is kind of flush city, and you get a bit of a relief rally. So I got in a bit early, but I still end up with a 20 price anyways on ARM. Not the way you want to do it, but if this breaks back up and kind of clears through that 50 level, just got to get out of this one. Like it does not seem to want to get down to 50 this time. So 50 and a half has been the bottom. If we get under VWAP, fair enough. I just took another leg out of Alibaba because you take what you can get with this alongside. Like it's not really moving. I thought we were just going to roll the crap over and break this to the downside. And when you hold VWAP, it's like, okay, if it's going to break out, maybe you get to the high of the day. Futures go up, it goes 10, 15 cents in the money. So, it's the Chinese ADRs. That's what they do in the afternoon. And sometimes it's just like that. Neil, look at eBet now. How about this? You guys tell me when you want eBet to go up. Oh, okay, fine. I thought you were FOMOing me, Havana Woody, in that this stock was going to be up like 50% the day that I, didn't trade it. Like, I thought yesterday was decent potential for a breakout, but yeah, it's still not doing much. Holding on to 6. This needs some kind of a catalyst. I thought it had a chance. Like yesterday looked like it was the start of a break to 10 cents, but no, it's just the volume's dying down. The volume was good on that breakout. That's why I participated. And I just sat in that thing as it kind of consolidated and did absolutely nothing. No continuation there. So this one's not much of anything. At least I don't have the FOMO, because I genuinely, when you said that, I thought the stock was at 12 to 15 cents. And then I'd hate myself for not being in it today. But that's the reality. Why would you not go along on a Tesla triple? You asking somebody else, Kirk Brooks? I don't know.
What is that?
I don't know. Maybe you're talking to someone else in the chat.
Like a triple top? I don't know.
No, you could be. Like, oh, I see what you're saying. You're maybe thinking about the breakout at 248. Well, it hasn't happened. B, it doesn't look bad. Volume wick underneath. So you broke the low of the day right when the short looked pretty fantastic, like you were ahead to 245. That was my thought. Maybe there's some people that shorted the low of the day thinking they're getting that dollar, higher lows all the way through. I'm pretty sure you're looking at that. That's what you're thinking. Is this triple top breakout? 248 doesn't look that bad. The market's still holding on. You're still pressing higher. You're now 6.5 on the NASDAQ. If you punch through, if we can punch through resistance here, it doesn't look that bad. I'm just so bearish on Tesla today. Joe Warner saying AVTX, look at that. Just give me 1 second, because JPM kind of held VWAP here. Don't wonder, I'm not going to add to it. Let's just leave it. You don't need to average into whatever. If I don't like something else short, I don't have to add to JPM. You don't have to do that kind of a thing. So you're asking me about ATVX, I think it was. Let me get back over to that. What symbol was it? It wasn't ATVX, it was something else.
EDTX?
No, it began with an A, and now I've lost it in the chat. That's what happens. Like, I saw the move down in JPM. I wanted to make a decision, and I decided I didn't want to do it. Now I cannot find that. Whoever posted about AVTX, thank you very much. No position, AVTX. Well, I mean, I don't have a position in AVTX. You're asking if I think. Is anything here? Off the top of my head. Oh, I see what you're... The play with these, like when you, like it's already, like Huadunk and then it's already bounced off 10 cents. Like this already happened and it went 10 to, you got to triple up off that level. So typically on the way back in, because that's what happened, like you've already missed out on what would be the consolidation long. Like if you're penny stock trading, you know, you see this happen, there's the liquidity grab like barely underneath 10 cents and then it breaks out the top. That's your 11 long with a 750 stop. And then there's the move to the upside. That's already gone. So it's making a bit of a base again. I think what you look for usually here is, okay, it's gapping. If it holds on to 12 cents, maybe you have this long and it goes halfway, but it's already moved to 30 and pulled back. So I think at best you get 15s on a move like this. Generally speaking, I'm just sort of speaking out of like years ago experience. You generally want to have the first break of these kinds of things. You hit it and quit it. For penny stocks, when you're presented with an opportunity on a penny stock to go long for the dream and not lose everything, like you can reasonably stop it out for a 30% downside when it can go 3x. That's not a bad setup. But catching it on the way back in is never the way I like to do it. I just feel like you want the consolidation to happen, then you want it to break up, and then you want to get involved. And the way I would approach those when I was like day trading penny stocks was like I'd just be in and out all day long. Just constantly holding a position and just in and out long on that first day of the break and then just see how far it goes. And I would never really short it on those types of moves. SoFi still cannot seem to find a bottom. Well, maybe it did. Not a lot of activity with SoFi, but you guys saw that breakdown. That was nasty, nasty. 790. This time yesterday, we're talking about the 790 break. And we should have just had it today, did not. So I elected not to add to JPM because I think that would have been the stubborn thing to do. I'd be doing it because I can't find a short that I like, so it's like double down on the one that you have. Nah, right? So there you go. Oh, you just missed it firing my stop order. You flipped away and it fired my stop, and that's me getting stopped out. So I could have added to this and just lost twice as much, but no. And we adhere to our stop. We get in on the curl. It breaks out. We get out, take the hit when it comes, and just sort of deal with it there. Tesla hasn't broken that 248, by the way. Yeah. I think we can still be waiting. Like this is one I could still be in the short. Kind of thinking maybe the market does want to go to the upside. It's 323. I'm looking for that 330, like early look on the imbalances. Yep. If we get that to the upside, then you could continue that relief rally. So I don't want to push that decision just yet. Right. You don't have to force Tesla. Like it already gave a good trade. That should be fine. Yes, not really seeing much else. What are you guys looking at?
Yeah, let us know what you guys are looking at. I'm still watching this. So that 130 kind of coming in. I was watching this consolidation here. I'll take it. Okay, that 130 came in right away as I started speaking about it. Look at the NQ, man. Like this thing is blasting to the upside right there. 14,980 right there. We talked about how this was a kind of a consolidation. I was looking for a bit of more of a pullback here. I got my order kind of queued up right underneath that 130 to kind of take that scalp into that level, but that 130 comes in quite quickly, and like Neil said, I kind of want to stay a little wary after seeing this kind of action straight to the upside and holding near those action highs there. Similar thing with Google, Microsoft, and Apple as well. Apple's still holding right underneath that 196. We talked about how that's kind of a key level to interact with. So, oh wow, take a look at that, Neil. It's right on top of VWAP. So consolidation on top of VWAP right there, underneath that 176 on Apple. About a 50% retracement of this crazy selling off that we got off the 177 all the way down to the 175. 174-ish area right here. So yeah, we've made a bit of a reversion here, but let's see if we can do that 50%. That would be right at that 176-ish area. The 130 on Amazon. I'm keeping on watch. About 5 more minutes until the early look on the imbalances. If somebody is just initiating their covers in here, and if that's what that wipe was, And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know if they're done. Nobody, like, who would know if they're done covering? And if their covers cause that kind of action, then I might want to be a little bit more patient, wait for some sort, wait for a market, I guess, number to come out, which is the early look on the closing imbalances that could very well kind of give some direction in the last half hour to a lot of these large caps and the futures here. Yeah, they're saying Microsoft at VWAP as well. So yeah, let's take a look at Softy real quick there. Yeah, Microsoft testing VWAP from the underside. So that's interesting. Apple is holding VWAP from above and consolidating above near some of its key levels, that 176, and that the 320 there on Softy corresponding with that morning consolidation, kind of acting as resistance along with VWAP as well. So long or short here, I have no idea. I'm waiting. Definitely the long was right off of here. I did not have that trade. That's okay. We miss trades all the time. But maybe you should be a little bit better at taking them if I'm sitting right here talking about that very trade. If it happens too quick, that's fine. But like we talked about, we were asked a question about the Google, and then we talked about how that could be potentially coming in, and it comes into fruition very, very nicely there. But I think nobody could have expected this kind of wipe back up here on the futes. Let's see what we do going forward. Just a few more minutes there, Neil, for that early imbalance look, 3 minutes to be exact.
Can't believe they did this again.
The market kind of retests and recycles certain key levels. You're looking at CART.
So I happened to have a level 2 up while it happened. So I wasn't watching on the chart. I was actually watching on level 2. When they broke the 30 level again, rinsed it to 95, and it snapped back up. But the last time it did that, that's me. I mean, I was long here. When they rinsed it, I had the 30 long, and it went right to VWAP on one shot. This is not buying above the way it did before. So it's not the same kind of bounce. This could be, like, I'm not saying it's going to break down here, but that is not as much buying. If it were to reclaim the low and bust that double bottom, I think I got to be short that one. By the way, Tesla, that was a trap. Like, there's the 48, there's the wick above. It's still holding. It's not like it's completely rejecting that level, but that is not insane that it didn't just liquidity grab there. I don't know why I'm not just going back to the well and giving a shot at this one short again. I'll be wrong about this, but you know, it was a good short the last time this happened, where it kind of liquidity grabbed above. It just broke that double bottom, double top, didn't go, right back underneath it. So I'll give it a shot. You know, like it's just, that's a setup that on a stock that's trending down, like I'm pretty much taking almost every single time. And I get it. We do have, I mean, the early look on the imbalances hasn't come yet. I was kind of hoping that I could hold on until after that, but the setup happened. We'll take a shot at it there. If CART breaks, I'll let you guys know. It's still at 30.03, so they're really defending that price well, but that was different. The buying the last time, it flushed under 30 and got back above. Like that one candle, you know what, I'm not even doing it justice. Like this is a 3-minute chart. Let me just change that to a 1 minute. I prefer a 3-minute chart. That's why I use it. But if I pop a 1 minute up on this, like this is the 1 minute. Like it's VWAP in the 1 minute candle. Like that's stop out, and everybody got, if you put a stop, you got stopped out. And then it's right at VWAP once it rinsed everybody. And if you look at why that level was so interesting, like this is why, because how many times was it bouncing off that level over and over again? It was free money off 30 forever, and then it ran everybody's stop and then flush. This time it runs a stop and goes nowhere. That's what I mean by it being weak this time. So I'm looking for that to be a short break. I was asked about Pinterest in the chat. I wanted to get into Tesla, and then I can answer that question. After that, look, they had their investor day. Let's go. There we go. Strong move to the upside, but they had taken it a bit on the chin. Now these charts are really slow. So there we go. Load, load, load. Wanted to quickly show you guys the 50 period. You're just underneath that. Set things up. So you're between, you recovered the 200 period. You're potentially rejecting the 50 period the last couple of days at 27. So if you're looking for a breakout on Pinterest because it's a good recovery, well, you're running into double top resistance that also happens to be the 50 period on a Friday, options Friday. That's a tricky thing to break out from this late in the day. So strong move into it, that looks like resistance, and it's probably I don't know. Like if it was me, I'd be shorting that level. I'm not trading Pinterest today, but like that's the way I approach it. Like if you're heading into major resistance and you've already pressed higher, the market just had a good bounce, and this as far as it went, like it just feels as if like that's a double top. I'd be playing the short mostly. Could I look at bros? Dutch Brothers, huh? Okay, we can look at Dutch Brothers. Thinking about adding to Tesla. I'm not going to do it just yet. Didn't Bros report? Somebody let me know. Dutch Brothers reported recently, right? Or was it that here? Maybe it was last. Well, it was probably a while ago. But either way,
I'll check.
So if you're in this, if you're in this, I always say like if you get into something that's not a long term, like you got to have an out. And I would say that for most people, let's just try to.
They did not.
No, I'm not. No, I don't know because this isn't actually the bottom just yet. But like down to like 1920, which looks like you're getting pretty darn close to. Like that's it for Dutch Brothers. It's been trending to the downside. It just recently broke support levels underneath 25. You haven't had a green day since that. This feels like it's a short till it's not, and that's when it gets to 20 bucks. That's a pretty nasty one. Like even when there's some kind of a reprieve, it's not like this is doing much to break the trend. Right, like you bust up here, try to break back out, and then immediately reject. Whoa. Do not even hold on to the previous support that you broke from, and then it's just straight down since there. So $20 is your next level. Short till it's not a very liquid name, so not much of a trade, to be honest with you, especially as a day trader. You never really see much. Like the first couple of days on Dutch Brothers was great. We were trading it when the IPO happened, but since then, pretty much nothing. Teladoc. What's it with, like everyone's putting in depressing looking charts.
Oh, look, I get it. Talking about Starbucks.
JP Swade, I know Josh Brown has picked bros. I don't know, like I've never had the coffee. I don't really know the business. I'm just looking at the chart, right? If there's a fundamental case to be had, then okay, there's support at 20. If you like it and you like the fundamentals, you're probably heading into a support level worth buying. I don't know. I'm just telling you the chart looks like it's dumpster fire. That's nuts. TDOC, fresh lows as well. That's absolutely tanking like everything else is. $20 is already gone. It's rolling over again. Yeah, you know, if I traded this, maybe 19 short there, but I like Tesla. We stick to what we like here. I just don't know what you want me to tell you about TDOC that isn't obvious when you look at that chart. I don't know where the bottom is going to be on some of these. Like think about the names that didn't, like as the NASDAQ has made this big bounce and relief rally that we're pulling back from with the AI craze, think about the names that didn't bounce in it. Like what's happening to the names that didn't bounce here? Like I would expect anything that didn't get a bounce as the market's been flying, that is in growth, is headed back down to its lows. That's my take. If this pullback in the NASDAQ is getting us to big support levels, if NVIDIA is going to 370, then why isn't Bros going to 20? And why isn't Teladoc going to 15? And why isn't Virgin Galactic going to 0? Like just, I'm not saying 0, like $1 maybe. But yeah, that's kind of my idea. I just feel like the weaker names are going to their local bottoms, and if they're breaking those, fair enough. I'm going to slap a bid here on Tesla at the low of the day, like I should have before, or like we did before. So the rollover is working. That means Alibaba. Yep. Like I said, Chinese ADRs, nothing.
So I got a.
I'm getting out. I just got out flat Baba. This is not moving.
I got a quick, I guess, a sell signal in terms of thing there on Amazon. But then as soon as we kind of pop into the 70s, kind of holds there, the NQ kind of pushing back in, cover right away. Again, we talked about how tight I want to be with my wrist there. So if it's gonna fail down and the NQ pops down and then suddenly you can't even get past the 70s like that, you rebid. I definitely want to get out right away. For the short there, Nicole Harris, thank you for the super chat. Can we look at CCL for option earnings after market? She's saying 1450 call volume is stronger than 1450 put volume. Huh. What are we thinking about that? All right, so I can pull up the CCL chart. Now, I don't know too much about.
There's a bunch of hedging going on.
Yeah, I don't know too much about the options volume at those specific chains there, but here, let me just pull up CCL for you guys. Yeah, take a look at that. Every time you dip into the 70s there on Amazon, you kind of get rebid right back up. So I don't want to necessarily be involved. Maybe that's just a chop and churn, but we know that we're right under that 130 as well. So yeah, that's the thing. So you were saying 1450 call volume is stronger than 1450 put volume. All right. So here's the thing. Okay, I don't know much about options, and I might not be the person to be speaking on the matter, but. From the limited knowledge that I have, what I know is that if you are buying options, you're already in a losing trade, pretty much. Because option sellers definitely have a lot more alpha than option buyers. I think that's usually the way it goes. Because think about it, because it's like renting or owning, right? Who makes more money? People who rent out their property, or people who own their property.
That's a wide.
Option sellers are renting the shares that they own.
That's a wide view of things. I think obviously there's plenty of opportunities out there. I would say specifically, Nicole. I don't want to put anyone on the spot here, but I know Ponzi and a few other guys in the chat that chat early in the morning. Like I'll put the stream live at like 6:45 to 7 o'clock, and there's usually good discussions going on, and a few of the more versed people in options are usually talking at that time. So CCL, I'm not going to sit there and be an expert on options myself because I'm not. And they report next week, Friday, right? Can somebody,
well, which
Brent, just CCL, they report next Friday, right?
Okay, let me.
I'm like 90% sure. You correct me.
I
You guys
check
correct
right
me
now.
if I'm wrong. But CCL, it is
Friday 29th.
Okay, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
next Friday. So they've been breaking to the downside. I would say, given the move that this has had to the downside already, like a lot of times you just say, what has the stock been doing? And if it's really, really hard in one direction, the risk is the other way. So it kind of makes some sense to me. It's 11% short float. Travel's been getting beaten up lately. And where else is it going to go? Like I would suspect it's going to have some support at 1250, but if it were to blow back to the upside from here after this move, like you could easily get to the 50 period. So I don't know. I just feel like it's floating in the middle of nothing. For the day trade next week, my approach has been underneath the flat line, short it. And that's kind of the short-term approach. But yeah, I just think it's always risky trading around earnings. And at least you can know exactly what you're risking when you make an options bet. I don't make any bets going into earnings. If I'm buying something before earnings, it's because I'm buying it for my long term. And I think it's just I'm willing to risk it because I do not want to miss out on adding it or getting in or adding to that position for the long term. So I usually don't care how the earnings go if I'm doing that. And usually I try to avoid that altogether. Okay, where are we? And Ponzi, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I just know that you know what you're talking about. So and we appreciate everyone in the community. And sometimes I'll see the conversations and I'll sit in and I'll just be watching and I'll learn something myself and see what it's all about. So thank you for answering that. And yeah, even Daryl as well. And like I said, I know there's a lot of you out there that had that experience. I didn't mean to pick one person or the other. Ponzi's just the first person that came to mind. And as always, do your own research, but we're all here to learn from each other. Like that's what it's all about. That's why we have this community. That's why the idea for this even started in the first place. And that's what a trading floor is all about. And that's what we're trying to do for you guys. I'm about to get filled on Tesla here, hopefully. And I'm going to actually trail this now. We are heading back down into that triple bottom or potential triple bottom at 246. But while I put my trailing stop in, let's go to the desk and take care of a little business. I didn't even notice the early look.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and zero commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
Yes, sir. And apologies. While we were going through that and answering questions, it's $365 million to sell is the early look. That's on me. I actually forgot to say that to you guys. It's not a big number, and it doesn't look like it matters. As a matter of fact, Tesla's starting to check up here a little bit. Let me just adjust my trail. I do not want this breaking back up. I kind of felt like if this move isn't getting back into the low, I do want to make sure that I have a trail in there, and my clock just disappeared. There we go. Okay, trailing stop in on Tesla. We're getting into 340, only about 20 minutes left to go. If you are tuning in and wondering where is Sean, he was in the chat, and he's taking a long weekend, but I'll still be doing the aftermarket recap. So I'm going to be on there. Brendan's going to be joining me for a little bit. Obi, I don't know what to say. Like, we're all pretty impressed that he's done pretty much the entire day. Like, Obi has had 30-minute break today.
I mean,
It's amazing, bro. I don't even know how you're still going.
break, that's if you consider being in front of the market work, right?
I love what I do, and I love trading, and it's not like trading is fun and you have passion for it. That's one thing.
I mean, I haven't been doing much trading. Yeah, most of my trading happened in the first hour there.
It's not easy talking all day.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm just give credit where credit is due, right? Give credit where credit is due. It's not easy talking all day long.
Yeah, no, definitely not easy for sure. But you know, we're hanging in there. We're doing all right. Yeah.
My 6-year-old, it's easy for her.
Yeah, this is unlimited energy. It's like unlimited is a bottomless pit of energy.
You have no idea. When she wakes me up tomorrow at 6 a.m., whoo! Oh my goodness. Where are we? Eric, what is your trigger to get rid of your Tesla short? Okay, let me just zoom in and show you. So my trigger to get out of the Tesla short is just this last little consolidation here. Come to my chart for a second. Zoom there. Like if we consolidated here, I think it's binary. Like we either resolve to the low of the day. This is how these things go. We either resolve to the low of the day, or it holds the higher low and we bounce up. So the second it started to bounce higher, I'm like, okay, decision time. Trail to here, just around 47, or we get the low of the day on Tesla. So it's close to 350. That's the other reason. I get really binary. Binary means like no ifs, ands, or buts. Like don't diddle around, don't scalp. Like it's either working all the way or it's not. At around 350, I usually feel that. Like we should be getting to the low of the day if this is going to continue. And we can just hold it right into 350. Or it's going to break back up and do that dance with, I don't even know why Sharif says the dance with no pants, and I was about to say it myself, because it doesn't actually make any sense. So anyways, and we can just do the dance in the range that we were doing. Why that's a dance with no pants, only Sharif can tell you.
Yeah.
Early look was 365 million to sell.
Okay.
Let's see what else is happening here. I'm just looking about NVIDIA. Someone had asked me about NVIDIA. I saw that in short. It was at 420, wasn't it? Whoa.
What just happened?
Oh, let me just look at the.
Yeah, it just I saw a wave of below the bids kind of just come in, crossing into the bids.
But that's
Size
not
getting
real.
taken out. I mean, take a look at the NQ. It's literally wiping. So that move, that rip up that we did, we talked about that potential for it being like just pressure from covering.
No,
right?
Mike, like I'm looking at this NVIDIA chart. I'm like, I don't have another charting source up. You have trade. There's no chance that wick is real to 410.
On NVIDIA?
Like there's like that did not happen.
I can check.
Right, like that's because if that was even remotely
what time
true,
was the wick?
right here at 245, 215, it probably only went to 412. Either way, that's a reversal candle. It doesn't matter.
413.
413. So the bottom's right here.
Yeah.
What
Those
a bounce
wicks are
that
not real.
was. Okay, that wick's not real. I mean, I can get rid of it. Who cares? It'll probably crash chart if I do. So market heading back to the bottom. That was a good short at 420. I don't know if you can't work something off 419 for a stair step down. Like if we're going back to the bottom, I think we're retesting flat on the NASDAQ or red on the NASDAQ. Like I said, I like Tesla. I do want to check back in. There was the other short that I liked, which was sometimes it be like that.
Oh, wow. We're really coming in now.
That JPM, man. That
14.9.
JPM at VWAP. I say this all the time. Like sometimes getting out right at VWAP is a really bad idea because oftentimes the rolls happening at VWAP and some of the best fills, if you like the direction of the trade, oftentimes the stocks they're stepping down, the fills over VWAP are some of the best. It's a weird thing to say. It's a bad place to put stops, and I still put one there anyways. I'm not sure how I would have done it differently, but I got to think about that because that's not a short I should have given up on. Not really sure.
Yeah, I think
I had to have a stop. It's just, that was a bad one. I should still be short that.
I got out of, remember I was like, okay, I had the first trigger to kind of get the short, and I was like, oh, 70's bidding, get out. And I even said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait because I have limited risk left on the day, and I take that one trade, and look, it's coming in. I mean, I have no idea. But clearly, I covered way too early. Similar story there.
But hold on, you covered it flat?
Nah, not really flat. I think we made about 2 pennies on that trade because like I had the short in the 80s right here, 129.80s. It drops into the 60s, rebid 70s, and then it just slaps through 75. I'm like, okay, I don't want to take.
Zoom that chart out though.
Right, just a little left.
No, that's far enough.
Okay. Yeah.
And, like full screen that.
Okay.
That's like a perfect entry. You just got to give it to the top at least.
Yeah.
Like it's where it consolidated before. Like
Yeah.
and at this time of day, like that's like it works or it doesn't. And if it works, it's giving
It's
you
gonna
$1.
go. Yeah, exactly. Clearly.
No, that's a great entry. You just gotta, you know what?
I think
don't
this
even
was
worry about
buying
where
pressure.
don't even worry about where your risk is at that situation. The trade's the trade.
Yeah, exactly.
Trade's gonna trade itself. The market doesn't care what your P&Ls or what you're sitting at. You just got that was a great entry. It was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, great entry, rudimentary exit. So
Oh, I do that all the time.
it's something we're working on. But yeah, Neil, definitely have to consider that just again when there's not much risk left on the day. We were talking about how you can get these certain. I guess we're all human. You get a little emotional, but we were talking about this with Sharif yesterday. Like, yeah, there are certain stimuli that can trigger those emotions, but if the trade is the trade, I have to just take the trade, regardless of, okay, sure, I have to manage risk well at the same time, but if the trade is like good and I'm patiently waiting and I'm like, okay, this might be it, and there's a little bit of fugazi to start off with.
It's fair. I'll tell you this right now. Like
I should give it some space. You're right.
I actually got best at just sort of losing as part of the cost of doing business.
Of course, yeah.
Like that was, I'm not telling anybody to go ahead and do this, but like when I was playing a lot of poker, that is when that drove it home. And I was just like, okay. Because the good thing about like, trading's trading, the market's gonna do what's gonna do. But in poker, like you will take beats that are just, it's objectively a bad beat. Like if you lose on a trade, like you can't say, oh, that was a bad beat. Like let's look at JPM for a second. Market low of the day, by the way. But like at JPM, like I can't say that that's a bad beat. Like I put a stop in it, ran my stop, and it went a little bit higher. Like I can't complain about that. Like obviously it was a bad out and I should have managed a way back in or maybe done better with that trade. But it's not like if I had pocket aces and you called deuce 7 and objectively I did the right thing, you did the wrong thing. Like it's so different. When you take enough of those hits, suddenly everything is just make a decision.
Yeah.
Just make a decision, and if you believe it's a positive expectancy, so be it. And if you lose, who cares?
Right.
Right. Like one thing I'll tell you is I genuinely hope you can never tell if it's a really, like it's just a trade, and I feel as if it's a massive loss or small loss. I'm just mad if I made a bad decision. And I'm like, I'm asking myself, why did I make that decision and what could I have done better? And you'll see me do that all the time. And it doesn't really make a difference, small, big, whatever, beginning of the day, end of the day. It's just more about make a bunch of quality decisions over the long haul, and it's going to work out for you. And again, I am not endorsing anybody to go out and play a bunch of poker to get better at trading. Gambling is bad.
I mean, speaking of which, we got to have more poker nights here at the floor.
Oh, you don't want none of that, son.
Oh, why not?
Because
I've only been to 2 so far, and I've been here over like just over a year now. No, we definitely have to. I was talking to Wayne back there.
We do have to.
We should do like a monthly, at least at the very least a quarterly poker game.
I don't
4
have a
times a
problem.
year is not bad.
I don't have a problem with it.
I think definitely, yeah.
I just need time in advance. It's like once you have kids, like a busy schedule, and giving up those evenings can be tricky.
Yeah.
Like Fridays like movie night at our house. It's like it's hard to give that up. But yeah, you're right about that. Like it's a lot of fun. Like, one of the things we gotta do more social things. The poker, like there's some legendary nights on this trading floor for poker nights, and we always play with fake money, right? Just YouTube's listening and whoever's listening. But yeah, so 1 minute to the imbalances. What do we got here? I mean, so far, there's some early looks, but nothing. I mean, there's names in there like Coke, but the early looks on New York is nothing that I think I'm terribly interested in. It's the NASDAQ names that we care about, but some early looks there, MMP, SU, but nothing terribly interesting. Kenvue's an early look sell and bounce, mostly to the sell side. Like now, all of a sudden, the early look is saying 1 billion to sell. That's reflected in the New York because you have a lot of big sell imbalances. So obviously, I'm going to hang on to Tesla, even though it's a triple bottom. I have a trailing stop that's pretty tight because it's 350. Like if Tesla comes out a buy, I'm just going to get trailed out right away, and that's fine by me. Otherwise, we're holding for 245 even. The imbalances should hit any second. We'll have them live for you. Obviously, that's kind of what we do. So in a few seconds, we will get those imbalances. Come on, sell side. We'll see what happens. The NASDAQ's at 0.1 to the downside. There we go. starting to fill in. Apple, sell. Amazon, sell. Amazon, 2 million, sell. Intel, 2 million, sell. That's going to pair off. Apple, 1.4 million to sell. Kenvue still sell. Who cares about that? Microsoft, 1 million to sell. The overall number is 5.1 billion to sell.
Whoa.
5.1 billion to the sell side. Microsoft to sell. I probably already said that. Marvell's, whatever. I think everything is, I haven't seen a buy that we actually care about. So just assume if you have a question about an imbalance, it's probably to the sell side. And if you're curious, you can always ask me in the chat. But we did not break the triple bottom on Tesla here. So despite all of that, Tesla does not want to break the triple bottom. You know, in complete hindsight, like that trail out doesn't look very good. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So 245, now we're starting to break the low. There's no point having a bid down there. Just going to cancel the bid and trail it even further. Let's see what happens. I have one position on. I'm not taking another one, so I can kind of just manually work off this 245 here. If we break 245, we hold. If we bounce off it, I'm just going to punch out. 245 on the bid, about 100,000 shares on the bid here on Tesla. And, man, I was trying to show it to you, and it's gone. I'm trying to hold it. Okay, just wick 245. I'm going. Oh, saw that, right? Like it was there was 100 and something thousand shares on the bid. By the time I called the stock up, it was breaking and it went to 84, and then instantly it reclaimed 245. Maybe that's a bad out, but if you're going to trap me out, we're day trading here. Everyone has to be flat at the end of the day. There's 8 minutes left to go. Usually imbalances get paired off as they go. This is a stock down 4%. It's battling the 245 level. Someone just took 100,000 long. Someone just asked, what do the imbalances mean? So every day there's a market on close on the major, like every market has a market on close. That's where you get the closing print from. It's done in an auction. People can put in market on close orders, limit on close orders at any point during the day with some restrictions late in the day. So the imbalances, they publicly will let you know 10 minutes before what the current landscape is for that auction, right? So let me just actually look at the imbalance locator when I say all this. So for an example, let me just pull one of these up. Let's just go to something that's big. There's Amazon. Yeah, so 1.6 million is a sell imbalance. 2.6 is a paired volume. So there's 4.2 million worth of shares in the auction, but right now they're able to pair off 2.6 million of it, and then there's still a sell imbalance of 160 based on the current price where it is. So on Amazon, that means there's a residual sell imbalance in the auction, and the reason why they make that public is so that you actually have people taking the other side. They want less volatility. So if people see there's a massive sell imbalance, if there's buyers on Amazon, they know they can enter buy orders into the auction and not move the stock price because there's a sell imbalance. The entire thing was drummed up so that you have less crazy fluctuation at the close, or in the closing print at least. So people see that sell imbalance. If some, I don't know, hedge fund or whomever is looking to buy Amazon, instead of trying to buy it up, they can, during the open market and buy their million shares there, they can put it into the auction, pair that, and then the stock doesn't even move. What it did do there was wick me out of Tesla. Fair enough. So I'm out of Tesla at 245. It is what it is. It's always, you never have a perfect exit point there. I hope that was a good enough explanation. I said it really fast. Arun used to do a really good, slow 5-minute explanation of the auctions and the imbalances, and it's so good. And you can, I think we actually might have a video on our Market Wisdom page. Yeah, I remember
watching that.
So if you can, just go on over there and watch it, and then you don't have to worry about Neil, who's been talking all day, explaining something complex in 25 seconds. Because I know we talk fast, and it's really easy for me to just spit out something that makes sense to me in my head, and then it's like very, very, it's just a poor explanation. I'm really good at explaining things to my daughter because she's 6, but then here, I end up talking fast. And you're right, Steve G. Yeah, but Arun won't pay for shorts, so there you go.
Really?
Never.
He's never paid for shorts.
Well, he's done it, but he won't do it. Like a stock could have a $10 opportunity, and it's like 1 cent a share. He's like, I'm not paying for shorts.
Wow.
That's not his voice, but I love Arun Havana Woody. It's just
some of the best shorts are pretty expensive.
It's when you have to pay for it that a lot of times it's really good, and he'll trade those movers. Like Arun, when he's on the show, like he would trade those small cap movers. He just wouldn't pay for the locates to short them. I don't know why. It's a weird principle thing. And you know what?
Maybe I'll ask him why.
Principle's priceless. I have no issues with that. I just don't get it. That's all. I don't get it.
Okay. All right. So I'm saying okay to this wick right here. The NQ kind of slapped, or actually punched through those bids right there, through those lows, and then now we're getting a quick wick back up. Again, a lot of these tickers I'm seeing as a strong. Well, they were pretty big. Everything got paired, I guess. That's why we got that wick right back up. A lot of these NQ imbalances I have here. We had Amazon and Intel kind of being the top two names right there, and yeah, instantly paired at that 55 mark right there. So crazy move into the close on the NQs and the ES, of course. A little bit of a shake and bake right there out the open. And you said there was about a 4 or 5 billion sell imbalance?
It was 5 billion.
5 billion.
Now,
so like you think that this action right here, do you think that's potentially 5 billion worth of pairing?
well, you still have mostly sell imbalances, but a bunch of it paired off at 355. Like I said, that's the purpose of the imbalance. It's still to the sell side. I haven't gotten an update since 355. However, you can look at it and just sort of, like a lot of the big ones aren't there anymore. Like you're still, like NYSE MMP still there, Ford's still there. You're looking for the NYSE ones. None of the big names are over $1 million anymore. And that's what happens at 355. So at 350, you get the imbalances published. At 355 is the first major pairing event, and then there's a few of those going into the close. It's on the NYSE specifically. That's just a big time when they get a bunch of orders that come in, and 55 they pair a bunch of them off. And a lot of times they don't actually stick around. Like it's very rare that you'll see like millions on the imbalances of stocks that get heavily traded and then just have nobody pair that imbalance off. Like I mean, it's Apple, it's Amazon. Those sell imbalances are getting paired.
Yeah.
Like, those are big stocks that people like to buy. And you got to also think of it too. Like we were just talking about short covering for that rally. Well, I mean, you don't think that there's bigger names and bigger players that aren't just like, I'm holding this short and I'm covering it in that auction. Like if you just sat on,
you need that liquidity almost. Right?
Yeah.
You need that liquidity to kind of cover your position. Otherwise, if you covered it mid-market, you may get something like this.
Yeah, but if you're Tesla, if you're short Tesla into this, like you've been shorting it all week, let's just say short, and you've been holding on to it, like it's at the lows. Like if you're in a short anywhere in the last like 5 to 10 days that you're looking to get out, like why are you messing around like a day trader getting out at these levels when you can just throw it into the auction where there's going to be liquidity for your 100,000 shares, right? Like that's the difference. Like as a day trader, like I'm not trading 100,000 shares of Tesla. I don't need to use the auction. We're just going to get out here. But if you know the bigger players, that's what they're going to do. Like they have that opportunity, and that's exactly why you see it. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. There's only 2 minutes to go. Wow, it's been wild. It's been fun. I ain't done. We're still doing the aftermarket show. Yeah. Going to be up at that desk. We got some trades to review. Brendan was asking me what we want to go over. I can't pick one. I like 2 or 3. Maybe I don't pick one. I'm not good at that. So maybe we just do 2 or 3 of them. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to do that, but we're going to have fun with it anyways. Obi's done a fantastic job. Don't know who's ringing the bell, but they're doing it in about 90 seconds. Thank you very much, El Maestro, for the euro, €5. There you go. Crash?
Crash? Question mark?
Is the market in a crash? I don't know that this qualifies.
Next week is going to be super interesting, Neil.
Yes, I just don't
like the fact that we closed the week like this, near its lows.
I know, but
pretty heavy week. We haven't had a heavy week like this in a long time.
Crashes a lot.
Crash,
right?
Of course, crashes a lot.
Crashes a lot.
Crashes a lot.
We're in a correction. We're in a downward trend. We're in a pullback. There's a lot of
healthy price action.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I would call this before I would call it a crash. Like that's Tesla and a decent pullback. Yeah. Nvidia, is that a crash? If you look at it on the year, that's a healthy pullback, right? Like you actually haven't even you're making a lower low now, but you haven't even broken 400. So yeah, we're in a pullback. Crash next week. I don't know that I would go that far. You guys can ask me some questions, some names in the aftermarket show. I saw like OMH there. Got no issues to that. Is the bear drunk or dead? Oh,
it's a double bear.
Let me know when I knock it over next time.
Yeah.
The bear.
It's a bit of a confluence on the bear side.
It's true.
Happening here.
Well, the bear's having a good day. So the Bears have had a good day, and sometimes you have a few when you had a good day, and this is what happens. And he's resting it off like you should. But we got the bell in less than 10 seconds. Adara's on it right now as we speak. Get the camera off me and get it on her. Whoa, that's awesome. In 3, 2, 1. Hey, that's pretty cool.
That's the. Don't you know that's the new studio?
Nobody tells me anything around here. Like, it's just, we just do new things. You don't even bother telling Neil what it is. Thank you for the surprise, Ramin. I think that was fantastic. We're always, like, and Fabian. No, not Fabian. Okay, first of all, can I just
He's like, what about me?
before we end the show here for a quick second, at the end of the midday show, before you came back,
Yes.
right? Fabian came over and he offered you a Timbit.
Yes.
And he came over and he offered Yannick a Timbit.
Yes.
He did not offer me a Timbit.
Damn.
So thank you very much, Ramin. A great job. I'm like Michael Jordan sometimes. He didn't offer me a Timbit, and I took that personally. See, and this is why Ramin is up here, and Fabian right now, it's like, I don't know, like maybe like, you guys can't see, imagine I'm touching the ground there, okay? So thank you very much. It was a fantastic day. We had a lot of fun with it. I'm going to be joining the desk. We're going to throw to Brendan in a quick second, but I want to shout out Yannick. I'll leave you for last because I think it was impressive what you did today. I want to shout out Yannick for stepping in on the midday show. Ramin doing a fantastic job on the ones and twos. Fabian's all right. I'll say his name. It's fine, whatever. Big shout out to Sean. He's enjoying his long weekend, kicking butt all week long as always. Sharif was moving today. He'll be back next week. I think we have Max back next week. Brendan doing his thing as always. And I'm saving Obi for last. He has had 30 minutes off the camera today from 8:30 to 4 o'clock. Okay?
Oh my
So I've been
God.
saving this. I want from now to the time I get to the desk, I want the likes doubled. He put in the entire day of work except for 30 minutes. I'm not even sure he ate lunch today.
I did.
Did you really? I didn't even see you do it. That's impressive. That
During lunch money. When other time?
Did you inhale it? I didn't see you do
No.
it. You must have inhaled it. But either way, it's very impressive. Just absolutely carrying it today. I am gassed, and you're just handling it. You're nice and calm. I've had way too much coffee, but thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. You know, again. When you love what you do, it's work is not really work, right? So I mean, we talked about it. I'm kind of a gamer growing up, and spending long times in front of the PC is definitely something I'm used to. But yeah, no, today was a great day, fantastic day. Filling in some big shoes for Sean. Thank you for having me. I hope you guys all had a great time. Hope you all learned something, what to do, what not to do. We talked about that. Had some good trades, some bad trades. Hope you all got some great value from me and Neil this week. And yeah, we hope you have a good weekend. We hope you like the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell everybody about the show. Like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, get the link on the group chats. Get the people knowing. We're the only people who are doing this. Nobody else does a live show trading live markets. You can't do that. I'll be here all night.
Everybody's like, Obi, you're done for the day.
Isn't
He's
the
like, I'll talk
Forex
as long as
trades
I want.
next. We have access to Forex.
We could. We do have to get to
24 hours,
the after show. I know what's up. But the funny thing, it's a running joke around here. When people start saying wrap it up, Sean and I would just keep talking. And Obi knows what to do. Get that man a beer, crack it. Let's go to the desk. I'm going to join Brandon. We got the aftermarket show. Thank you very much, Obi.
Thank you.
That Cremor looks absolutely delicious. I'll have mine later.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome in. We'll get you set for the weekend here in the next 30 minutes. Go ahead and get that board up there. Get that death clock, as Sean calls it, up there.